my notes because you can ask my children's church that if I don't have my notes, who knows what I'll start talking about. I could start talking about one thing and then I'm over here and Jenny's like, Lisa, come back. She keeps me on track, so thanks, Jenny. First of all, we just want to thank you guys everybody in this church was a huge part of our trip when we went to the Philippines. That just because we were the crazy ones that got on the 73.5-hour flight to China, doesn't mean that you guys weren't all with us. Mindy put together a prayer team, and we each had a prayer buddy. And so there was one person that we knew you were all praying for us as a team, but each one of us had one person that was here that was praying for us the whole time. And Ramona was my prayer buddy. And if you guys remember, the last time I got up here to talk about our Philippines trip, I couldn't because I was way too emotional, and I think I got the word Philippines out. It was about all I could get out before I started crying. But I found out later that Ramona actually, her prayer for me the whole time was that the trip would impact me so much that I wouldn't be able to talk about it. So don't ask Ramona to pray for anything that you don't want to happen because it's successful. But while we were in the Philippines, I could come up with a million excuses why I didn't want to go. We come up with a million excuses of why we don't want to do a lot of things. We're watching The Biggest Loser this year, and it's the season of no excuses. And it reminded me, it's kind of like my trip of no excuses when I was in the Philippines, because I didn't have the money, I didn't have the time, I didn't have the talent, I was too afraid. Those are 4 really big excuses that we can come up with for this. But God has answers for all of our excuses. And it doesn't matter, when we were over there, the biggest one is, I don't have the money. Well, don't talk to anybody in the Philippines about not having any money, because we are so blessed to live in a country that poor to us might be that we can't afford cable or a cell phone. To us, that's poor. To us, that is the epitome of not being successful, which is truly unfortunate because in the Philippines, they don't even have toothbrushes. And being a dental assistant, this is a really big deal for me, that they might have one toothbrush for the entire family. They're lucky if they have one toothbrush for the entire family. So money is different to them. They will serve the Lord with nothing. And time, I don't have the time, I can't take the time off of work. Well, if that's your excuse, God will provide a way, because if you're supposed to be going on this missions trip, and it doesn't have to be to the Philippines, our mission field starts here. It's at church. It starts in this building, and the minute we walk out the door, we're in a mission field. And it doesn't have to be on the other side of the world to be effective in missions, because God tells us, like they said, to go and preach the gospel. Yeah, we do have to go, but we don't necessarily have to go across the country. God will provide the time for you. These kids that go to this college that we were at, they get up at 4:30 in the morning and start worshiping God from the minute they get up. They stand outside their dorm and they sing praise songs at 4:30 in the morning. And then they go all day, they go to school. Luckily, they have people that can support them, but some of them can't even afford to eat 3 meals a day. Some of them are only allotted 2 meals a day because they don't have the money for it. There's this one kid that just really stands out to me when I think about that I don't have the time. He goes to school Monday through Friday, and Friday night when he gets done with school, he gets on a boat and he travels all night Friday into Saturday, and he goes home to his hometown, and he's there Saturday. He preaches on Sunday at his home church because he's the only one that can preach at this church. And then Sunday night gets on a boat and travels all night to come back to go to school again Monday morning. And I don't want to get up at 6:30 to do my Bible study. Talent is something that we all have. Talent isn't the ability to stand here and talk. Talent isn't the ability to play a guitar. Talent is a gift that God gives us. And if we choose to not use that gift, that's on us, that's our responsibility. Because if God calls us to do something and we choose not to do it, as Rob said, we know how well that turned out for Jonah. So if God calls us to do something, we better listen. And the last thing is fear. This is not my favorite place to be. I don't know about you guys, but it's out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is right back there. But sometimes God calls us to get out of our comfort zone, and getting out of our comfort zone is when we're the most effective. And we have to do that. We were talking in our Sunday school class, and it's funny, one of the verses that we're using is 1 Peter 3:15, which we had a test and only one person got that right. And it says that always be prepared to give an answer to anyone that asks you for the hope that you have. If you don't have an answer for why you believe it, if you don't have an answer for that hope, find it. Find that answer, because if somebody asks you and you don't have the answer, you're not being a faithful steward of your time, money, and talent like God calls us to do. So listen to God, pray, open your mind, and don't be like Jonah.